Okay, so we've added the Google Analytics tracking code and we've filtered out our own website data that's coming from our own home IP address. We've had a look at the real-time data analytics. Now what we're going to do is we are going to look at how we create additional views of data so that we can filter out other things and really focus in and hone in on what is important to us. So let's get started on this video.
Okay, so when we first set up our Google Analytics account, remember that we created the account and then we have the property underneath that. Now what happens is one view gets created automatically, and that view is called all website data. So that's tracking absolutely everything. Now, in the second video or the second blog in this series, what we looked at is adding a filter to filter out any of the data coming from your own home IP address. That we could just leave on that website data, all website data. What we can also do is we can create additional views for different purposes. So, for example, if I go into the admin area for my account, and what we'll see over here is on the view area, I have all website data, which is the one that's created by default. But then what we also have is we've got blog only. Now, if I click on this, this has already been set up. What I can do is I can go into the filters area. And what I wanted was to be able to filter out all of the pages, all of the things that were sort of those top level pages, the About Us page, the contact page, all of those kinds of things. And I just wanted to be able to see the blog pages, so the actual articles. I wanted to see the traffic for that. So unfortunately for me, my website, I don't have a blog subdirectory. So in other words, if we go to my website and if we look at the blog, even though the blog page has /blog, if I go into a blog, I've got all of my blog posts actually at the top level as well. If you have a subdirectory and all of your blog posts, so your URL, it's your domain /blog/ and then the actual blog post, then you could easily put in some kind of rule and some kind of filter that basically says only include traffic where it includes /blog/. So for example, if I did add filter, I could do include only, and I could do to the subdirectories, and then I could do blog. That would then filter and only include the traffic that went there. Unfortunately, because the way that I have mine set up, which is fine for the site, and it's okay, but in terms of the filtering, what I've had to do is I had to go ahead and actually set up a different filter for each of the pages. So if I go ahead and click into this one, I basically excluded where that was the URL. So in other words, that's where it ended. It ends up at blog. I then had to do the same thing for the contact page. So again, I've basically excluded any traffic for the URI, or basically the URL that you are ending up on, that filter pattern contains /contact/. So a little bit of a pain, but basically what I went through is I ended up creating all of these filters. If I go through, and I also filtered out in one of the other videos I talked about how on some of the traffic that I get, I use something called ConvertKit for my my email marketing and for basically things to do with online courses that I sell. And so for this, what I had to do is I didn't want that to be counted as traffic. I wanted to see directly to those URLs, and I basically have filtered out anything that includes that as well. So it really depends on what it is that you're wanting to combine within this view. So let's go ahead. Now you've seen one that I have set up. If I go ahead and actually I look at the traffic for this, so let's go ahead and let's see what's on the real-time. Okay, awesome. So real time, if I go here, I can see that these are all blog posts. There aren't any visits that are going to one of the what I would call sort of top level or generic pages like About Us or categories or events and so on. Now, if I want to go ahead and add a new view, if I go ahead and I click on Admin, and again, over on the right hand side, we see that list for the views. I can go ahead and I can create a new view. We can see that we have a limit, so the maximum number of views within a property is 25. That's fine, I've only got 2, so I can certainly add another one. Now, I'm going to be launching this Google Analytics series, and what would be really useful is to be able to have a view where it's only traffic to those Google Analytics blog posts. What that means is I need to do something within the post so that I can use some kind of criteria to filter and only show that. So I'm going to call this Google Analytics series, and then I'm going to set the time zone for reporting. And then I'm going to go ahead and just click Create View. And we can see here that my view is being created, so now I see it in the list. And at the minute, I don't have any filters on it. So my filters, it's basically going to show everything. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Filters. I'm going to go ahead and add a filter. Now, remember that in the, I believe it was the second video in this series, or the second blog article in this series, we went ahead and we added a filter to filter out the IP address. I can click on Apply Existing Filter, and I can go ahead and I can do Exclude Home IP Address. So I don't have to create it again, I can use the one that I've already got. So I'm going to go ahead and add my a new filter. So if I click on Add Filter, I'm going to create a new filter, and I'm going to call this GA Pages. So GA, Google Analytics Pages. I'm going to do a custom filter, and instead of excluding, I want to include the request URI, and I'm going to do that because I'm going to put that in at the start of the URL for every single one of the Google Analytics series pages that I have. So I can go ahead and save this. So now I can see there's the 2 filters that I've got applied against this specific view. So it's excluding the home IP address, and it's including the traffic that's going to any of those pages that start with GA in the URL. So we can go ahead and we can create these views for various purposes. You can also create views with the intent that you will be sharing these views with other people. So if you want to exclude traffic to certain areas of the site for some reason, and then you want to share the views, we'll look at that in another video and another blog post. But for now, this is how you can create additional views within that property in Google Analytics.
Hi, I'm Megan Walker. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you learned something from it. If you don't want to miss out on any other content, you can go ahead and click on my face below to subscribe. And if you want to watch the next video, you can do that by clicking over here and go ahead and get started. Thanks again.